Guten Abend, sehr verehrte Damen und Herren.
Herzlich willkommen bei der Veranstaltung der Science University. أنا هحكي بالعربي jetzt übersetze ich das بس بالعربي. أهلا وسهلا بكم جميعا في الجامعة الصامتة.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to receive you this evening. You are very much welcome, and we hope we'll have an interesting evening together.
Guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Schön, dass Sie alle so zahlreich erschienen sind zur Veranstaltung der Science University mit dem Thema, wie sieht die diversifizierte Gesellschaft der Zukunft aus? Es ist schön, dass wir heute Abend alle hier sind und wir möchten anschließend nach unserer Präsentation eine Podiumsdiskussion haben, also nach der Präsentation bitte nicht weglaufen, sondern noch hier bleiben. Wir möchten noch gemeinsam über dieses Thema diskutieren. Wir von der Science University möchten uns natürlich auch kurz so vorstellen, aber ich möchte zuerst das Programm vorstellen für den heutigen Abend. Also, wir möchte ich Sie begrüßen zu diesem Abend. Danach möchten wir einen Vortrag haben von Justin Fonkeu über das Thema, wie wird die diversifizierte Gesellschaft der Zukunft aussehen, und im Anschluss werden wir eine Podiumsdiskussion haben. Bei der Science University ein Grundpfeiler ist es die Mehrsprachigkeit. Deswegen, wie Sie vielleicht schon hier gesehen haben, wir haben hier eine Kabine für Leute, die nicht so gut Deutsch sprechen. Die können sozusagen, haben die Möglichkeit, auf Englisch oder auf Arabisch den Vortrag und die Diskussion übersetzt zu bekommen. Ich weiß nicht, von Gasthörern möchte irgendjemand eine Übersetzung auf Englisch haben? Oder besser gesagt auf Deutsch, Englisch oder Arabisch?
Der Vortrag ist 20 Minuten auf Englisch. Und wir werden das übersetzen ins Deutsch.
Genau.
Wer braucht einen Kopfhörer?
Jemand vielleicht kommt dann mit der Präsentation. Genau. Genau. Also weil wir übersetzen, wie gesagt, ein Grundpfeiler der Science University ist, dass die Sprachen übersetzt werden, da wir nicht für jeden erwarten können, dass er auch ausreichend Deutsch spricht. Wir sind eine Organisation, die sich für die Belange der Migranten hier in Deutschland einsetzt, und deswegen übersetzen wir auch in andere Sprachen. So, kurz um den Abend einzuleiten, würden wir gerne die Science University kurz vorstellen und dann übergehen zur Präsentation.
Once more, ladies and gentlemen, you are very much welcome. The Silent University is an initiative or a platform for sharing ideas and opinions of academicians who are asylum seekers and migrants whose documents and papers are not actually recognized in the German society. The very fact that these migrants are asylum seekers or refugees doesn't mean that they don't have something to offer the German society. It is the objective to give these people a voice, to give these immigrants a voice, to show that they have not come into the German society only as beggars, but they can make a powerful contribution to the society. The initiative of the Silent University started in 2012 by the Kurdish artist Ahmed Oğuz. Fortunately for us, he is present here this evening, and in a minute you will listen to him. You'll see and listen to him. It was the initiative of this gentleman to make the fate of the refugees and asylum seekers, and with an academic background, their voice to be heard, to enforce or bring an end to this silence. The whole idea of silence is that you have something, but this something cannot be heard because your papers are not recognized, your certificates are not recognized. So Ahmed, our gentle friend Ahmed, wanted to bring an end to this silence, to the voice of the academicians who are asylum seekers. The Silent University, therefore, creates a space for open discussions and also offers a room for personal exchanges. Refugees and asylum seekers can teach here, they can become lecturers in the Silent University. You are also welcome, those of you who are present here this evening, to subscribe to be members of the silent universities. Even if you are not refugees, you can be members by kind of supporting the initiative. In the Mülheim Silent University, the Mülheim Silent University is one of many. There is a silent university in London, there is a silent university in Frankfurt, and there is a silent university in other cities, in other countries like Stockholm and in Greece. In the Mülheim branch, we have programs on underdevelopment in West Africa. So we've listened to talks on the underdevelopment. A couple of weeks ago, we listened to a talk on the effects of the CFA and how it's ruining the African economy. We also have talks on the health of the Syrian war-torn zone and so on. Well, I'll talk about what touches me as a person. We have a women's empowerment group, and it is the objective of this women's empowerment group to make the voice of the woman heard. Because it is not only the African woman, it is not only the Arabic woman whose voice is not heard. Even the German woman needs to get her voice heard, and it is our objective within the women's empowerment group to make our voices as women heard. We planned a talk for the 9th of June, but this talk unfortunately was planned without taking cognizance of the fact that the fasting period of the Ramadan is starting. And for that reason, we kind of postponed this talk. And I tell you briefly what this talk was about. We are planning a talk to talk about the initiative, the strategies, survival strategies of immigrants in the German diaspora. How does the immigrant play strategies for survival? How do they get their papers? How do they get employment? How do they get integrated within the German society? Well, I don't talk too much, women talk so much. Let me stop it here and hand it over to the gentleman who it is today. Thank you.
I want to recognize Mrs. Britta Peters, who was one of the support for Silent University to come on. I want to recognize Matthias Fenze, who is the dynamic that things are moving. I have a long list, but I will stop for now. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are welcome to the Silent University, the Department of Institute of Political Education. And our topic today is Future Society of Diversified Federal Republic of Germany. So as we present the paper, we'll start with our table of content. I'll give an introduction. I'll try to define some few terms. Policy of recognition, politics of redistribution, that hangs with the theory of justice. I'll then go to who is a member of this new community. What are the challenges that migrants and citizens with migration background face? What are some identity problems? What are the future perspectives of migrants? Their dreams, their aspirations, hopes, and fears. I will then go on to see how we could collectively manage the changing dynamics of the multiculturalism and multilingualism, gender inequality, racial profiling, and diversity. How soon will diversity be considered a normality? Maybe we have a conclusion. Yeah, we realize that the political debate that has taken up to 30 years and more to establish the Federal Republic of Germany as a migration country. Politics of recognition, tenet. and that lies over the theory of justice by Taylor, 1992, and Hegel, 2017. This happy end has provoked another series of provocative and problematic discussion and debates as to who should be considered a member of the new German society, politics of redistribution. The success story of the German economy has been the result of multiple talents, the collective production effort of both German nationals and the migrants in this multicultural country. The challenges faced by immigrants are enormous, ranging from the arrival, the reception, the acceptance, the tolerance, immigration, integration, redistribution, participation in the development of the German society. Our main concern shall be the socio-political, socio-economic, and socio-cultural problems in the future society. The result of the large influx of migrants, asylum seekers, and refugees has led to an increase in the total number of foreigners in the country. Many questions come to light. This paper will stimulate facts that will help in the discussion that follows. I try to give a representative of who belong to this new multicultural society of Germany. So you have foreigners who have indefinite stay. You have migrants who have indefinite stays. That we can classify refugees and asylum seekers. Then you have the ethnic Germans who have both parents as original German. Then you have the Germans with the migrant background. So I try to bring out some of the challenges and hurdles that the migrants undergo. He comes after a very long distance, very long travel. He's traumatized, a traumatized situation. Then he has the problem of the language, difficulties with communication. And he goes into the security, he's just come out from a place where it's not safe. He comes in another place where he can have permit and resident. The question of stay and permit and resident. Then he thinks about the social benefits, where does he sleep and all that. Then he moves on to education. Some of them come with education, their certificates are not recognized. There's some problem with having the place in the school or getting admission in the university, all the others. Yeah, after certificates have been recognized and maybe having a job, there's also a problem within the job. And sometimes if they're not well handled, they, because of frustration, because of lack of perspective, you see them going to as criminals, criminal activities, or acting as drug sellers to get quick money, or they become a social liability, which disturbs the whole community. Yeah, these are challenges also go further with the identity problem. Yeah, they come from, they suffer from democratic transition, from an area where there's always an order that is given, from an area where it's a dictator to a place where it looks like it's free, but with boundaries going on. They also face climatic changes, come from a very high temperature to where you have winter, the temperature drops up to -degrees. Then you have these social cultural changes, which usually bring a lot of shock. For example, you see someone and say like this, here in Germany, it means, oh, you're greeting, but you see somebody from Africa running and coming to you, I said, you're calling me. Then we have also prejudice and stereotype that goes in both directions. That some of them are not fixed for this committee, and some of them feel they are also cannot be fit or cannot be accepted in this community. Then you have others with undocumented parents who have to give birth, you know. And the birth, you are not considered German, you are not considered. But we have in other countries, like in France, it doesn't matter the status of your parent. Once you are born in that country, you have a right to be a citizen of that country, also in the US. The question is, why does it not happen here also? Then you have a question of hate. We have watched over the TV where there have been a lot of attack in the homes, in various, where the residents of the migrants, the asylum seekers. Then we suffer a lot of discrimination, either in the train when you sit here and nobody sits near you, and then in other aspects, in school and all over the community. So they have, question is, we have to find a way to collectively manage the changing society which we live in. And I will use the quote from Fosu, 2017, political scientist, confirms our aspiration that the official declaration of the Federal Republic of Germany as an immigration country can be seen as the acceptance and increased social awareness of the plurality of German culture and the variety of German national identities or possible or conceivable forms of identity. Yeah, for a proper management of the cultural differentiation and rationalization, a critical examination of the key variables such as national affiliation, such as social participation, and the role form of social integration amongst the various population groups is required. This helps to limit conflict and tension between the groups. We shall be happy to listen to your opinion in the discussion. A very good invitation to the panel discussion. Yeah, we come now to the perspective and future. What are the fears? What are the dreams of these newly come asylum seekers and newly migrant immigrants? They have a bit of peace, they have security. The question is, how do they get a resident permit? It's a problem. How do they get a better perspective of life? How do they come into good education and good vocational training? How do they obtain good jobs, have a happy family, and think about their relationship back to send back remittances? Yeah, how do they also come in a situation where they are recognized and they can hold a leadership position as managers, as mayor, as minister, etc. So their fears is rejected and deported back after having a tragic, sad journey to run away, escape from the despot presidents in various countries. Just to think that you have somewhere to have security, then you are threatened with sending you back. There are sometimes this is failure of dreams, their dreams. And we have watched a situation where we have Nazi attacks. And in some situations you find racist problems, and also lack of tolerance, maybe because I cannot speak the German language. Sometimes I want to ask something, they said, yes, ich mein Deutsch. We have also the failure for acceptance. So the problem is, how do we see diversity as a normality? When will that come? That a Muslim as a mayor of Miriam and the world, or people of color in leadership? What does the future hold for these migrants? continuous good integration process, that the population accepts, the majority accepts the minority, and encourage the minority to have, that administrative structures are put in such a way that minority representatives are there to give them encouragement, and for the general population to accept diversity. Yeah, so when we apply representative democracy and redistribution of responsibility, then we have a possibility of fulfill the diversity of Germany. To conclude, it is a fact that Germany is a cosmopolitan town shaped by pluralism. Thus, there is a constant democratic change and plays a role in the future. So we have most of the case children below 5 years, one in every 5 cases has a migrant background. This new pluralistic way of life and ethnocultural diversity of people of color, as mayor, immigrants enrich Germany with new perspective and experiences. So the great social openness and acceptance of alternative ways of life for the future of the diversified Germany. So our wish is that the future German society should be in all aspects a reflection of the cosmopolitan players of the German national team that won 2014 World Cup. Thank you very much for listening.